Hi guys, Jim here again with another Sudoku video today. We are looking at a sandwich Sudoku. So if you recall, this involves the numbers 1 and 9 and sums in between, etc, etc. We'll look at the rules in a sec. But yes, as a reminder, this is a part of the collection published by the Cracking the Cryptic team. Terrific bunch of guys who solves much harder puzzles than this on their channel. Go check them out, links in the description. Well worth a watch if this is your sort of thing. And you happen to be watching this channel before watching this. Right, let's jump into it. So, as before, the puzzles are all well, actually, yeah, this is a different looking app because I think this was the first app they produced. So these obviously haven't gone back and made it look like the others, which is fine. So we've solved one puzzle, which has unlocked 2 others. So we're going to jump into puzzle number 2. Yeah, this is still a 1-star puzzle, so it should hopefully be reasonably easy. Oh, look, tips and tricks. Click on a clue outside the grid to see all possible combinations. Ah, yes. This is how I play this, in fact. So, but yes, so if you remember, in this row, what the clue outside is basically saying, between the digits 1 and 9, if you add up the other digits that appear, you will get the number in the grid outside the grid. So 23 or 0, which means they're actually next to each other. 14, 5, etc., etc. So yeah, so let's just get going. In fact, I will start with this column because one thing that you should try and do with, or at least one way that seems to work to solve this, is to try and identify 1s and 9s as soon as you can before you start trying to get the other numbers. And if we look in this column, so we know 1 and 9 are next to each other because it's a 0 clue. I'm going to turn the clue off because I've already used it, or I will be about to use it, and we can't put the 9 there. So 1 and 9 next to each other, can't put the 9 there because that must be a 9. And what that does in this box and in the rest of this column, we cannot put a 1 or a 9. So I'm going to put X's there so we know not to look for it. In fact, look, we can see here, so that gives us a 1 and 9 in this row as well, which is nice. But also, interestingly, this gives us a 5 in this box because we know there's a 5 clue here. So I'm going to turn that clue off because I've done it. Okay, so what next? So 23 here. So 23 is an interesting one. It can be made out of 5 or 4 digits. If you're not allowed to use 1 and 9, because obviously it's between the 1 and 9. So 1 and 9 are obviously not involved in the sum. So we know that these two are not going to be a 1 because you couldn't possibly have a 1 in this and put 23 here, for instance. Now we know that there's going to be at least 4, maybe 5. So if we look here, so that's potentially 4. And we know there's a 5 and an 8 in it, but both of those... Ah, no, that's interesting. So we know there's a 5 and an 8 here. And if we look at the list here, which is quite handy, we can see that the 5-digit clues cannot have both a 5 and an 8. You could have a 5 or an 8, but not both. So it can't be that. So we know it's actually made of 4. And in fact, we know it's going to be one of these two. Which one it is not that relevant just yet, but what that tells us is we know that this cell now is a 1 because it's 4 digits away from this 9. So I'm going to come out of that. And that means that there's not going to be any more 1s and 9s in this column, which is useful. We know there's a 1 either side of this 9, so let's do that. Yeah, the big clues and the small clues are more useful because 12 could be 2 or 3, 24 could be 3 or 5. So it's useful to kind of have something that can only be one set of numbers, and like a 4. So a 4 can only be a 4 because you're not. So how can you make a 4 in Sudoku? You can either use just the number 4, or you can use the numbers 1 and 3. You can't have 2 2s because obviously that would repeat a 2 in whichever column or row you're looking at. Now, you can't, in a sandwich Sudoku, use 1 and 4 to make a 4, at 1 and 3 because you need to use the 1 as the bread of the sandwich. So yeah, so actually that must just be a 4, and because the 9 can't be there because it's already a 6, and there's a bunch of other reasons this can't be a 4. There's already a 9 in the box, etc., etc. This must in fact be the 9, and this must be the 4 that goes here. And we've used that clue, so I will mark it used, and I will cross these out in this box. So this row is sorted itself out as well. So if we look at this row, we've got 9. We must make an 8. 8 can be 2 digit or 1 digit, but in this case, it just happens that we've already got our 8 here. So that's the 1, which actually sorts this one out as well. So that can't be a 1 or a 9, and neither can that. So let's cross those out. In fact, this box as well, so that's useful. Excuse me. Yeah, so 22. Yeah, so we can do the same logic here twice, basically. So we want a 22 and a 21 in these two columns. So we can't possibly do it using only 2 cells here. Both these cells would have to be 11. So we're not going to be putting a 9 here. So in fact, we're not going to be putting a 9 this side of the 1. Similarly, we're not going to be putting the 1 this side of the 9. So that tells us that in this box, the 1 and the 9 are together, because it's a 0 clue, in some order. So either they're there and there, or they're there and there. I don't know which, but what I do know is this cell is definitely involved, either way. And in fact, there's a 1 here. So this is a 9, so that's nice. And then there's a 1 either side, but I don't know which way round just yet. But what I do know is in this box, these can't be 1s and 9s because they've already been used in the column. This is 17 off of 3 cells. Could be a bunch of things, but let's just make a note of that for now. Let's cross out the rest of this row. Yes, this is why we do the crossing out. So I've not deduced anything about where the 1 and the 9 are relative to each other here. But because I've done so much crossing out, I know the only space available for a 1 or a 9 remaining in this box is here. And because there's a 1 already in the box, this is a 9. Isn't that nice? Usefully, so this bottom row now resolves because 7 can only be 2 or 1 cell. Right? So it can be just a 7, or it can be a 3 and a 4, or a 2 and a 5. But because there can't be a 1 here, I cannot stretch out this way and make this the 1-9 sandwich. So it must go to the left, and there isn't enough space to use 2 cells. So in fact, that is the 1, which gives us the 7. That then is a cross, so that's nice. That's also used up this clue, so I'll just mark it, and that clue, so I'll mark that as well. That sorts this out. Yeah, so this must be a 1-9 pair here. Presumably the clue over here is a 0. Excuse me, it's a 0, which it is, so I can cross that out as well. So that's nice. Okay, what we got going on here? So there must be at least 4 digits in this sandwich. So those are at least all of these can't be 1s and 9s, so I can put a cross there. So that is the 1-9 that pairs up with that 1-9, but I don't know which way around. 12 can be 2 or 3. So it can't be 4. So this couldn't be the 1. Well, this couldn't be the pair to this, because then you'd have to make 12 from 4, which you can't do. So that's not a 1 and a 9, so I cross that. And in fact, that one is. So that's the pair that goes with that. So that's nice. So that means that must pair up with this. So in fact, that's a 1, because that goes with this 9 as well, which gives us this 1 and 9 sorted out down here, which is nice. This is all crossed off, because it can't be. The row is now done. And then these two are 2, 6 or 3, 5. I don't know which order just yet, so I'll leave that for now. There's a 9 here for sure. 28. The 9's all the way down at the bottom, so that's quite nice. 28. The most it could be is 6 cells. In fact, we've already got 6 cells ruled out, haven't we? So there's 6 cells there. So the 1 must go here to complete the sandwich, and this is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 sextuple in here. So if I put the 1 there, that sorts that out. No, actually, that's a bit silly. I'm not going to pencil mark that these are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. But what I do know is that The only number not appearing in there is a 7. So in fact, that's a 7. And that's as good as, right now I know the rest of the makeup of this column, I should say. Okay, 14 can be 2 cells, so this could stretch. Ah, no, it can't. I was just thinking, does this have to be the 14 sandwich here, with the 3 14s in the middle? And I was like, well, not necessarily, because you could make this it, but that would have to be the 9 to pair up with this 1, and there's already a 9 in this column. So that's not a 9, which means that there is not a sandwich to the left of this one, so it must be to the right, so that is the 9 to complete that sandwich. And then this is a 1 9 sorted out with a 5 in the middle to complete this column. Sorry, row. So that's a 1 9, and in fact we know the order as well. And that is all the 1s and 9s done. So that's usually the way with the sandwich Sudoku. Invariably, you'll get all your 1s and 9s done before anything else. And what I can do, which is quite nice, is I can now clear off these X's, because the X's are basically everywhere, so they're useless. But what the app lets you do is clear everything all at once. So if I go to the bin icon down here, I can just delete all the X's in one go. So there you go. So that's happy days. Right, so now we've got some, I'd say we've got some regular Sudoku to do, but we don't. So we've still got some clues we haven't used. Let's see if we can do it a bit better. So if I look down this column, this is a 3-cell 12. And it can't have a 2 because there's already a 2 outside. So it's a 3, 4, 5 triple. So it looks like that. And that one can't be a 5, and that one can't be a 4. That one can't be a 4. So in fact, that one is a 4, leaving a 3, 5 pair. So thank you very much. 24 from 4 cells must have a 6. So it's a 3, 6, 7, 8. So I can turn that off, and then I can confirm. This is a 3, 7, 8 triple here. Can I resolve any of that? Not just yet. That's fine. So this is the missing digits from the row. So that's 1, 2, and 5 as a triple. Column. I keep saying row instead of column, and column instead of row. 1 and... It obviously doesn't have a 1. What are you talking about? It's a 2, 5. 2, 5, 4. There we go. I got a bit nervous there. Right, 2 and 5 already in the row, which means that is a 4. Okie dokie. What do we know now? Okay, so 3 cells for 14. Yeah, you see 14 can be a bunch of different things. So it's definitely one of these two. I don't know any better than that just yet. So this is lovely, isn't it? Because this is an 8 made from 2 cells. It's definitely got a 3, 7, or an 8. Well, can't have an 8 by itself, because then obviously you wouldn't need a partner. Can't be a 7, because that would require a 1. So this must be a 3, and this must be a 5, and this clue is donezo, which is useful. Can we sort these two out? 4 cells must have a 5 and an 8. We looked at this before, didn't we? We did look at this before. I didn't finish the logic, though, because it can't have a 6, because there's a 6 here and here. So actually, we can sort this out right now. It must be a 3 and 7 pair, which I can't go further than just yet, but I can cross off the clue at the very least, so we don't need to bother looking at that anymore. This 21 from 4 cells can't have a 6, because there's a 6 in the column already. So that's quite restrictive. It's very restrictive. Oh, that's sorted itself out. 2, 4, 7, 8. That's useful. Can I sort any of that out? Yes. That must be a 7. That can't be a 2 or 4, so that must be an 8. And then we've got a 2, 4 pair here, which I can't resolve as of yet, but that's fine. Let's look at this one. So 17 off 3. Ooh, I really can't do very much damage there. Can't have a 6, because there's 6 there in the box. That's 6. That cell sees that. That cell sees these 6. So I can't have a 6. So I've got it down to 2 possibilities. It definitely has an 8. Either way. So it's 8, 2, 7, or 4, 5. Does that help? That definitely has an 8, not yet. Okay, this 14, so we've got 3 cells. Yeah, okay, so that's not very helpful. And then finally, we've got 4 cells making up 22, so I can eliminate some of that. Can't have a 7, because there's already a 7 down there, which sorts this out. So it's a 3, 5, 6, 8 quadruple. 3, 5, 6, 8. So that's nice. Surely this is pretty restricted, so it can't be an 8. Can't have a 6 there, so that's a 3 or a 5. Can't have a 5 there, so that's a 3 or a 6. Oh, can't have a 5 there either because of the 5 in the row. So the 5 is sorted in this box, so that is a 3, 6 pair. This is a 7 apparently. I don't know when that popped out, but I will take it. That's a 3, that's a 8, that's a 5. Coming together slowly. We've still got these 2 clues to use at some point, so just keep a beady eye on those. Can I sort these out at all? That's a can't be a 3 because of the 3 in the row. Oh, this cell is naked, isn't it? Because it can't be 3, 6. So must be and 2. Must be and 2. Must be a 2. This is a 3, 7 to go. Oh gosh, sorry. There we go. 3, 7 to go with that, which also sorts out this cell because it can't be a 3, 7. So this must be a also a 2. How about that? I should have seen that bit. Oh yeah, it was missing from the box as well. It's easier for me to see if you like this. I really struggle to see what was missing from the row because I spend ages like scanning back and forth. Whereas the box is much easier to see, isn't it? Because all the numbers are right in front of you. Okie dokie. So 2s are in here by dint of there being a 2 there and a virtual 2 here. So there can't be 2s in either of those. Does that help? Not really. What we've got here, this is a triple that we can at least pencil mark. It must be a 6, 7, 8. That can't be... so that must be an 8 in fact, because there's a 6, 7 in the row already, so that's nice. So that's 6, 7, 6, 7. Doesn't help too much. This is a 6, 7, 8. Okay. Is this helping this yet? I know I'll eventually need to use these clues. What's this? Well, that's definitely got an 8. It's not that helpful because it spans 2 boxes. And then it's either 2, 7 or 4, 5. So I mean, let's just go 8, 2, 7, 4, 5. Let's just do a full pencil mark there. That can't be a 7 or a 5. Ooh, is this a 3, 6, 8 triple in the column? It is, isn't it? Okay, so this is a 2, 4 pair, so that can't be the 8, in fact. So this is a 2, 4 pair here. So that's a 2 or a 4. Yeah. Okay. Can I rule anything out here? That can't be a 2 because of the 2 in the row. Can't be a 4 because of the 2 in the column. I should be saying. Oh, it can't be a 7. So that's a 5 or an 8. This, it's pretty ugly. It can be anything. Okay. No, not making much progress here. Can I do some Sudoku? I can. Look. So that can't be a. It can't be a 7. So I can take it out of my pencil marks. But more usefully, there's now a 7 here, which combines with this box quite nicely. So where does the 7 go in that box? Well, it must go here. So that's nice. These 7s are sorted by that one as well. I just was a bit blind, wasn't I? So that's a 7, that's a 3, that's a 3, which puts a 3 up here. And it puts a 3 in one of these two, which is useful because that combines with these to produce an X-wing. So that means in these 2 columns you can't have any more 3s. So in this box, that means that must be a 3. Okay. Still not getting to grips with the with these 2 final clues, are we? this is a... I mean, need a 3 in this row. It can only go there. So that's nice. So this is a 6 or an 8. Ah, and the 8 is resolved. So that's a 6. That's an 8. That's nice, is it? Don't know. This must have a 6 or a 7 now because of that. So I can take out anything that doesn't have a 6 or a 7. Doesn't really restrict us too much just yet. Excuse me. Ah, can't have a 3. Yes, there we go. Can't have a 3 because there's a 3 in the box. So that is in fact a 257 triple. So I can finally get rid of that. That's a 257 triple, which means that is a 7. This is a 2 and a 5, which in fact I can resolve. So that's 2, 5 like that. That gives us a 6 and a 4. Yeah, this did some damage, didn't it? That resolves this column actually, because I'm only missing a 5. Is that on my 5s? Not quite. No, not quite. Although, actually, it will be now, because there's a 5 forced in this box down here, because of these 2 5s here. So that must be a 5, that must be a 5, that must be a 2 and a 7. Right, here we go then. So finally, I've been able to resolve this 17. Wow, that really resisted, didn't it? Or I was just didn't see it. That's a 6 to complete the row. This is a 6, 8. No, sorry. In the row, the 6 must go there, which is nice. So that sorts this little area out very nicely. This is an 8, 4, which can be sorted out. And I think we're basically done, aren't we? So that's a 2. That's an 8. That's a 7. I'm missing 2 3s and 4s. Where does the 2 go in this box? It goes there. That's a 4. That's a 4. And then finally, that's a 3. Hooray! Wow, 20 minutes for that puzzle. That was hard. Just took... I mean, it wasn't too hard. Things just kept falling out nicely, but it just took me a while to spot things, didn't it? Anyway, so that was my second sandwich Sudoku, which I really enjoy. I like the sandwich idea. The logic's quite clever. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Cheers.